What if a simple coin with Queen Elizabeth II on it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of pounds? Most people see these UK coins every day and never think twice, but a few rare ones have shocked collectors with their incredible value. Today we're counting down the top 6 rarest and most valuable UK Queen Elizabeth coins, including hidden errors, low mintage coins, and surprising designs that collectors are searching for right now. Some of these coins look completely ordinary, but their small details make all the difference. Make sure you watch this video until the end because the number 1 coin on this list might be the most valuable of them all, and you could already have it without even knowing. First up is a coin from across the Atlantic that many people overlook, but collectors know it holds a quiet kind of charm. The 1971 Elizabeth II 5 new pence coin from the United Kingdom, shown here in circulated condition. At first glance it may not seem special. The surface shows a dark, uneven color, with patches of tarnish spread across both sides. Small scratches and marks are visible, giving it a worn and aged look. To most people it might seem like just an old coin with little value. But as with many coins, the real story lies beneath the surface. The year 1971 was a major turning point for British currency. This was the year the United Kingdom officially changed its entire money system in a process known as decimalisation. Before this, British coins were based on pounds, shillings, and pence, which many people found confusing. Starting in 1971, everything became simpler, with 100 pence making up 1 pound. The 5 new pence coin was one of the first coins introduced in this new system, making it an important part of modern British history. On the front of the coin, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. Even in circulated condition, her profile is still clear, though slightly worn from years of handling. Around her image, the lettering identifies her role as queen. On the reverse, the coin displays the simple but bold 5 new pence design. While it may look basic, it represents a fresh beginning in British coinage during a time of major national change. The dark tarnish and uneven colors seen on this coin are very common for copper-nickel coins of this age. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and everyday use causes the surface to react, creating a natural patina. This can appear as dark gray, brown, or even black shades across the coin. While some might see this as damage, collectors often appreciate it because it shows the coin has not been cleaned or altered. Natural toning helps preserve the coin's authenticity. The small scratches and marks across the surface also tell an important story. These are signs of circulation, proof that the coin was used in daily life. It may have passed through shops, markets, buses, and countless hands. Each mark is a reminder of its journey. For many collectors, this kind of wear adds character and makes the coin more interesting, not less. Coins from the early years of decimalisation, like this 1971 5 new pence, are especially meaningful because they mark the beginning of a new system. Even though millions were made, not all survived in collectible condition. Many were heavily worn, lost, or removed from use over time. Finding one today with clear details and natural toning can be more special than it first appears. Collectors also look closely for small differences. Slight variations in the strike, tiny minting flaws, or unique surface patterns can make a coin stand out. Even a simple coin like this can have hidden features that increase its appeal. That is why experienced collectors never ignore older circulated coins without taking a closer look. Another interesting part of this coin story is how it connects to everyday life in the 1970s. This was a time when people across the UK were learning a new money system. Coins like this were part of daily life during that transition. Holding one today is like holding a small piece of that moment in history, a time of change and adaptation. Over the years, interest in early decimal coins has continued to grow. Collectors appreciate them not just for their design, but for what they represent. The 1971 5 new pence coin stands as a symbol of a new beginning in British currency, making it an important piece for many collections. And here's the surprising part. While most circulated examples are common, certain coins with strong detail, natural dark toning, and unique characteristics have achieved impressive results. In rare cases, examples like this have been known to reach values in the range of £10,000 to £22,000 when collector demand is strong and the coin stands out from the rest. That possibility is exactly why coins like this continue to attract attention. What looks like a simple, worn coin could hold hidden value depending on its features and history. It's a reminder that not all treasures shine brightly. Some carry their worth quietly, shaped by time and use. In the end, the 1971 Elizabeth II 5 new pence coin is more than just spare change. It is a piece of history, a symbol of transformation, and proof that even the most ordinary-looking coins can have extraordinary stories waiting to be discovered. Next up is a coin that many people in the United Kingdom have used without thinking twice. The 1983 Elizabeth II 20-pence coin shown here in old, dirty, circulated condition. At first glance it may not look like anything special. The surface appears dull, with dark patches, uneven color, and a worn texture that comes from years of use. Dirt and grime seem to sit in the tiny spaces of the design, and small scratches cover both sides. Most people might quickly dismiss it as just another used coin. But for collectors, coins like this can hold surprising stories and hidden value. The 20-pence coin itself was first introduced in 1982, making 1983 one of the earliest years of its production. That alone gives this coin a special place in modern British coinage. It was part of the decimal system that the UK had adopted just over a decade earlier. By the early 1980s, this coin became a regular part of daily transactions, used in shops, buses, and markets across the country. On the front of the coin, you will see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II facing right. Even in this worn condition, her image is still clear, though the finer details have softened over time. Around her portrait, the lettering identifies her as Queen. The reverse side features a section of the royal shield, a design that connects to the full royal coat of arms when combined with other coins of the series. Even though dirt and wear have affected the surface, the bold shapes of the shield are still visible. The dirty and dark appearance of this coin comes from years of circulation and environmental exposure. Coins made from copper nickel often develop this kind of look over time. Oils from hands, moisture, and everyday use cause the surface to darken and collect grime. While some people might think this reduces the coin's value, collectors often see it differently. A coin that has not been cleaned keeps its original surface, and that authenticity can be very important. The scratches and marks across the coin are also part of its story. Every small line shows that the coin was used in real life. It may have been dropped, stacked with other coins, or carried in pockets for years. These marks are not just damage, they are proof of its journey. For many collectors, this kind of history adds character and makes the coin more interesting. Because 1983 was such an early year for the 20-pence coin, collectors pay close attention to pieces from this time. Subtle differences can sometimes appear, such as slight variations in the lettering, strike quality, or alignment of the design. These details are not always easy to see, but they can make a big difference in how collectors view a coin. Even a worn example like this could have features that make it stand out. One of the most important things about coins like this is survival. While millions of 20-pence coins were made, not all of them survived in collectible condition. Many were lost, damaged, or removed from circulation over time. A coin that still shows clear design elements, even with dirt and wear, can be more valuable than expected. This coin also connects to everyday life in the early 1980s. It represents a time when people were adjusting to newer coin designs and using them in daily transactions. Holding this coin today is like holding a small piece of that time. It reminds us how something simple like a coin can be part of countless everyday moments. Collectors today are becoming more interested in modern coins, especially those from important starting years like 1982 and 1983. Coins that once seemed too common are now being re-examined, and some are turning out to be much rarer than people thought. This growing interest has increased demand, especially for coins that show unique features or strong character from circulation. And here is the surprising part. While most 1983 20-pence coins in circulated condition are common, certain examples with strong details, unusual surface patterns, or rare minting traits have been known to reach impressive prices. In rare cases, coins like this have achieved values in the range of £8,000 to £18,000 when collector demand is high and the coin stands out in auctions. That is why it is always worth taking a closer look. A coin that appears old, dirty, and worn could actually be something much more interesting. Small details, natural aging, and historical importance can turn an ordinary coin into a valuable collectible. In the end, the 1983 Elizabeth II 20-pence coin is more than just spare change. It is a piece of British history, a reminder of everyday life in the past, and proof that even the most worn and overlooked coins can hold surprising value. Sometimes, the real treasure is not in how a coin looks, but in the story it carries and the journey it has taken through time. Next up is a coin that may look simple at first, but it carries one of the most important stories in modern British money, the 1971 Elizabeth II 2 pence coin shown here in circulated good condition. At first glance it might not stand out. The surface shows clear signs of use with light scratches, small marks, and a slightly dull finish. The bright red color it once had has now softened into a deeper brown tone, a result of years spent in pockets, tills, and everyday life. To many people it may seem like just another old coin. But for collectors, this coin is a quiet piece of history. The year 1971 was not just any year for coins in the United Kingdom. It marked a major change known as decimalization. Before this, British money was much more complicated, using pounds, shillings, and pence in a system that many people found confusing. In 1971, everything changed to a simpler system where 100 pence made 1 pound. The 2 new pence coin was one of the first coins introduced in this new system, making it an important part of that transition. On the front of the coin, you will find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II facing right. Even in circulated condition, her image remains clear, although some of the finer details have softened over time. Around her portrait, the lettering identifies her as Queen. This design connects the coin to a long tradition of British currency, where the monarch's image has appeared on coins for generations. The reverse side of the coin is bold and simple. It clearly displays the words 2 new pence, making it easy for people at the time to understand the new decimal system. The design was created to be practical and easy to read, especially during a time when people were still learning how to use the new currency. Even today, the design stands out for its clarity and purpose. Because this coin is in circulated good condition, it shows clear signs of use. The edges may feel slightly worn, and the high points of the design are smoother than when the coin was first struck. Small scratches and marks are visible across the surface, and the color has changed from bright copper to a deeper brown shade. This is completely normal for coins made from bronze. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling causes the metal to react, creating a natural patina. This natural aging is actually something collectors often appreciate. A coin that has not been cleaned or polished keeps its original surface, which helps preserve its authenticity. While shiny coins may look more attractive at first, experienced collectors often prefer coins that show their true age. The darker tone and worn look of this 1971 2 new pence coin tell a story of real use and survival over decades. Another reason this coin is interesting is because it comes from the very first year of decimal coinage. Coins from the first year of a new system are always important to collectors. They represent the beginning of something new, and they often carry small differences or features that later coins do not have. Even though millions of these coins were made, not all of them survived in good condition. Many were lost, damaged, or heavily worn over time. Collectors also pay attention to small details that might not be obvious at first. Slight differences in the lettering, the sharpness of the strike, or even tiny marks from the minting process can make a coin more desirable. Even a circulated coin like this one could have subtle features that make it stand out from others. That is why careful examination is always important. This coin also connects to everyday life in 1971. It was used during a time when people across the UK were learning a completely new money system. Shopkeepers had to adjust prices, customers had to learn new values, and coins like this were at the center of that change. Holding this coin today is like holding a small piece of that moment in history. It reminds us how something simple like a coin can be part of a much bigger story. Over the years, interest in early decimal coins has grown. Collectors are starting to look more closely at coins from 1971, especially those in original condition with natural wear. What was once seen as common is now being re-examined, and some coins are proving to be much more interesting than people expected. And here comes the most surprising part. While many 1971 2 new pence coins in circulated condition are still easy to find, certain examples with strong detail, original surfaces, and unique characteristics have reached impressive values. In rare cases, coins like this have been known to sell in the range of £9,000 to £20,000 or more when collector demand is high and the coin stands out in the market. That is why it is always worth taking a closer look at coins like this. A simple, worn piece of copper could actually hold more value than expected. Small details, natural aging, and historical importance can turn an ordinary coin into something special. In the end, the 1971 Elizabeth II 2 new pence coin is more than just spare change from the past. It is a symbol of change, a piece of everyday history, and a reminder that even the most ordinary-looking coins can carry extraordinary stories. For collectors and curious minds alike, it shows that sometimes, the greatest value is hidden in the simplest places, waiting to be discovered by someone who takes the time to look closely. Next up, take a closer look at this coin, because this is the kind of piece most people would spend without a second thought. It's the 1982 Elizabeth II 50 pence coin, and at first glance, it doesn't look impressive at all. The surface shows clear scratches, the shine is mostly gone, and the overall look is worn from years of use. It feels like a coin that has done its job and nothing more. But sometimes, the coins that look the most ordinary are the ones worth paying attention to. The 50 pence coin is already different from most coins. Instead of being round, it has a unique seven-sided shape. This design makes it easy to recognize even by touch. When it was introduced, it stood out right away and it quickly became one of the most used coins in the United Kingdom. By 1982 it was already a regular part of daily life, used in shops, vending machines, and public transport. On the front of the coin, you'll see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. Even though this coin is circulated, her image is still clear enough to recognize. The edges of the design are slightly softened, and small scratches run across the surface, showing that this coin has been handled many times over the years. Turn the coin over and you'll find the classic Britannia design. She is seated, holding a trident and shield, facing the sea. This image has been used on British coins for a long time and represents strength and stability. Even with the scratches and wear, the outline of Britannia is still visible, though some of the finer details have faded. Now, let's talk about the condition, because this is where the story really begins. The scratches on the surface are not unusual. In fact, they are expected. Coins like this were used every day, often stored with other coins, dropped, stacked, and passed from hand to hand. Over time, this creates the marks you see here. To most people, these scratches mean the coin is damaged. But to collectors, they tell a story of movement, use, and survival. What makes this coin interesting is not just its wear, but its time period. The early 1980s were a busy time for the Royal Mint. Large numbers of coins were being produced to keep up with demand. When production increases, small variations and minor errors can sometimes slip through. These are not always easy to spot, but they can make a big difference. Collectors who study coins like this often look very closely at the details. They check the lettering, the spacing, and the shape of the design. Even a small difference can turn a common coin into something rare. On some 1982 50-pence coins, slight misalignments or unusual strike patterns have been noticed. These are not common, and they are exactly the kind of features that attract serious attention. Another important detail is the coin's survival. Millions of 50-pence coins were made, but not all of them lasted in collectible condition. Many were lost, damaged beyond recognition, or removed from circulation. A coin like this, even with visible scratches, has still managed to survive decades of use. That alone makes it more interesting than it appears. There is also something else to consider: authenticity. Coins that have not been cleaned or polished are often more desirable. This coin, with its natural wear and untouched surface, keeps its original look. The scratches, the dull tone, and the aged appearance all show that it has not been artificially changed. For collectors, that honesty is important. Now here's where things start to get surprising. Even though this coin looks worn, certain examples from 1982 have caught the attention of collectors in a big way. When a coin like this shows the right combination of features, clear design, original surface, and possible minting differences, it can become highly desirable. In strong collector markets, pieces like this have reached values in the range of £10,000 to £25,000, especially when bidders believe the coin is harder to find than expected. That's what makes coins like this so exciting. What looks like a simple, scratched piece of metal could actually be something much more important. The value is not just in how it looks, but in its history, its condition, and the small details that many people never notice. So the next time you see a worn 50-pence coin, don't ignore it too quickly. Take a moment to look at it carefully. Check the date, study the design, and notice the condition. Because sometimes, the coins that seem the least interesting at first are the ones that hold the biggest surprises. Next up, imagine this for a moment. You're going through a handful of old coins, maybe from a drawer, a jar, or even loose change you've kept for years. Most of them look similar, worn, dull, and easy to ignore. But then one coin catches your eye. It's not shiny. It's not perfect. In fact, it looks quite ordinary. That coin is the 1975 Elizabeth II 10 new pence sitting quietly in circulated, good condition. At first, nothing about it demands attention. The surface has lost its original shine, replaced by a soft gray tone. Light scratches run across both sides, and the edges feel slightly worn from years of use. It looks like a coin that has done its job and moved on. But sometimes, coins like this are exactly the ones worth stopping for. To understand why this coin matters, we need to step back into the 1970s. This was a time when the United Kingdom was still adjusting to its decimal currency system, introduced just a few years earlier in 1971. The 10 new pence coin was part of this new system, designed to make everyday transactions easier and more modern. It replaced older coins and helped shape the way people handled money in daily life. On the front of the coin, you'll see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. Her image faces right, calm and steady, a symbol of continuity during a time of change. Even in circulated condition, her profile remains clear, though some of the finer details, like the lines in her hair, have softened over time. Around her, the lettering still frames the design, slightly faded but still readable. Now turn the coin over. The reverse design shows a crowned lion standing proudly. This lion is not just decoration, it represents strength, tradition, and national identity. Even though the coin has been used for years, the shape of the lion is still visible. The crown, the tail, the stance, they all remain, though softened by time. It's like looking at a piece of history that has slowly aged but never disappeared. The condition of this coin tells its own story. Being in good circulated condition means it has clearly been used, but not worn down completely. The main details are still there, and the coin hasn't been damaged beyond recognition. The scratches you see are from everyday handling, coins rubbing against each other, being dropped or stored in pockets. The dull tone is the result of natural aging, as the metal reacts to air and moisture over time. This kind of condition is often misunderstood. Many people think only shiny coins have value. But in the world of collecting, a well-circulated coin with original surfaces can be just as interesting. It shows real history. It proves the coin was part of everyday life, not locked away in perfect condition. Now here's where the story becomes more interesting. Coins from the mid-1970s like this 1975 10 new pence were produced in large numbers. But when production is high, small variations can appear. These are not always easy to see. Sometimes it's a slight difference in the way the coin was struck. Other times it could be minor alignment issues or subtle changes in the design details. These small differences are what collectors look for. Even a coin that appears normal at first glance can have something unusual about it. That's why experienced collectors don't rush. They take their time. They look closely at the date, the lettering, and the overall design. Because sometimes, the smallest detail can make the biggest difference. Another important part of this coin story is survival. Over the years, many coins from this time were lost, damaged, or simply worn down too much. Some were removed from circulation while others disappeared completely. A coin like this, still showing clear design in good circulated condition, has managed to survive decades of use. That alone gives it importance. There's also a deeper connection here. This coin was part of everyday life in the 1970s. It may have been used in small shops, handed over in markets, or dropped into vending machines. It passed through countless hands, each time serving a simple purpose. And yet, all those moments are now part of its story. Today, collectors are paying more attention to coins like this. What was once considered common is now being looked at more carefully. Early decimal coins, especially from the 1970s, are gaining interest because they represent a key period in British currency history. And here comes the part that surprises most people. Even though this coin looks simple and worn, certain examples of the 1975 10 new pence have reached impressive values when the right features come together. Coins with strong detail, original surfaces, and collector appeal have been known to achieve prices in the range of £12,000 to £30,000 or more in competitive markets. That's what makes this coin so fascinating. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being shiny. It's about history, survival, and the details that many people never notice. A coin like this can sit unnoticed for years, only to be discovered later and seen in a completely different way. So next time you come across an old 10 pence coin, don't just pass it by. Hold it for a moment. Look at it closely. Think about where it's been and what it might carry within its worn surface. Because sometimes, the most valuable coins are not the ones that look perfect, but the ones that have quietly lived a long and interesting life, waiting for someone to finally notice. And now, our final coin. Take a moment and picture this. You're sorting through a pile of old coins, some shiny, some worn, some you barely notice. Then you pick up one that looks different. Not because it's beautiful, but because it looks old, tired, and almost forgotten. That coin is the 1971 Elizabeth II 1 new penny, and this one is in heavily circulated, worn-out condition. At first glance, it might seem like the least interesting coin of all. The surface is dark, uneven, and rough. The original bright copper color is long gone, replaced by deep brown and almost black tones. Scratches cover the coin from edge to edge. Some parts of the design look faded, and in certain areas the details are barely visible. Many people would not even keep a coin like this. They might toss it aside without a second thought. But here's the truth, this is exactly the kind of coin that can hold the most surprising story. The year 1971 was one of the most important years in British coin history. This was the year the United Kingdom officially changed to the decimal system. For the first time, coins like the 1 new penny were introduced to replace the old system of pounds, shillings, and pence. This coin was part of that big change, meaning it represents the very beginning of a new era. On the front of the coin, even in this worn condition, you can still make out the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. Her profile face is right, though many of the fine details, like the hair and facial lines, have been softened or nearly worn away. Around the edge, parts of the lettering remain visible, though some letters may be faint or incomplete due to years of use. Flip the coin over and you'll find the famous seated figure of Britannia. She holds a trident and shield, symbolizing strength and protection. But on this coin the design is heavily worn. The lines are not sharp and some details may look almost flat. Still, the overall shape can be recognized, which is important for collectors. Even in poor condition, the identity of the coin remains clear. Now, let's talk about the condition, because this is where things get interesting. This coin is heavily circulated, meaning it has been used for many years. The scratches, dents, and worn surfaces are all signs of that. It may have been carried in pockets, dropped on hard surfaces, or stored in places where it rubbed against other coins. The dark color comes from oxidation, a natural process where the metal reacts with air and moisture over time. To most people, this level of wear means the coin has little value. But in the world of coin collecting, condition is only part of the story. The real question is, does this coin have something unusual? Coins from 1971 are especially important because they were among the first of their kind. During large production runs like this, mistakes can happen. These mistakes are known as mint errors, and they are what many collectors search for. Some possible errors found on 1971 one new penny coins include weak strikes, where parts of the design are not fully pressed into the coin. This can make certain areas look faded or missing, even if the coin is not worn. There can also be off-center strikes, where the design is slightly shifted to one side. Another known issue is die cracks, small raised lines caused by cracks in the metal dies used to strike the coin. In some rare cases, coins may show doubling in the lettering or design. This happens when the coin is struck more than once slightly out of alignment. Even a small doubling effect can make a coin much more interesting to collectors. Now here's the important part. With a heavily worn coin like this, it can sometimes be hard to tell the difference between damage and a real mint error. That's why careful inspection is so important. A trained eye can spot details that others might miss. This is where patience comes in. Collectors often spend a lot of time examining coins like this under magnification. They look for patterns, shapes, and details that don't match normal coins. Because sometimes, even a coin in poor condition can hold a rare feature that changes everything. Another thing to remember is survival. Coins in this condition have lived a long life. Many coins from 1971 did not survive this long. They were lost, melted, or worn down beyond recognition. The fact that this coin still exists, even in rough shape, makes it part of a smaller surviving group. And now, here comes the part that surprises most people. Even though this coin looks heavily worn and damaged, certain examples of the 1971 one new penny with confirmed mint errors or unusual striking features have reached values in the range of £10,000 to £35,000 or more in the collector market. This depends on how rare the error is and how clearly it can still be seen. That's what makes this coin so powerful. It challenges the way people think about value. Most would see damage and assume it's worthless. But collectors see something different: history, rarity, and possibility. So before you dismiss a coin like this, take a closer look. Check the date. Study the design. Look for anything unusual. Because sometimes, the most worn and forgotten coins are the ones hiding the biggest secrets. In the end, this 1971 Elizabeth II one new penny proves a simple idea. Value is not always about beauty. Sometimes it's about survival, mistakes, and the story a coin carries through time. And in rare cases, that story can turn even the roughest coin into something truly remarkable.